Hello and welcome to the class. I am Vishali Sharma, your psychology educator, and today we will be doing chapter 3 and the chapter name is Meeting Life Challenges. It will be talking about stress and these are certain things about myself. If you want to join my live classes, you may contact on the number given below. Without any further delay, let's begin. Meeting life challenges. So, as the name suggests, meeting life challenges of life needs to be met. So, stress is the pattern of response that an individual make to a particular stimulus that exceeds the person's ability to cope and also disturbs their equilibrium. इस पूरी डेफिनेशन में बहुत सारे पार्ट्स में आपको डिवाइड करके इसको याद करना है बिकॉज ये एक पूरी क्लियर डेफिनेशन है पूरा स्ट्रेस का कॉन्सेप्ट समझाते हुए. इसमें उन्होंने बोला है कि एक पैटर्न ऑफ रिस्पॉन्स हम जो दिखाते हैं कब, जब एक स्टिमुलस हमारे इक्विलिब्रियम को, फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा इक्विलिब्रियम है सुबह उठकर अपना नाश्ता करने के बाद में, स्टडी करने के बाद में, देन उसके बाद योगा एंड देन उसके बाद में आई नीड टू स्टडी एंड आई टू कंप्लीट माय प्रोजेक्ट्स एंड देन आई हैव टू गो बैक फॉर एन इवनिंग वॉक एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. If somebody like relatives or some nosy kids come to the house, now I am worried. How am I going to follow my schedule? So this is the place where my equilibrium has been disturbed and now I have to exceed my ability to cope with that particular situation because I cannot say, oh please go out of my room, because obviously you need to be socially intelligent. So this is the position, like it's a very little stressful situation, but it is a stressful situation where you need to deal with it. There are two types of stress. So first is eustress, second is distress. Eustress is a positive stress. Also this is useful for certain situations. For example, if you have examination coming up and you have a little bit of stress for doing well in that exam, that's a eustress. But distress is a negative stress. Also this type of stress is a stress where the person actually messes up with everything and the person deteriorates their ability to achieve their peak performance and cannot manage their minor crisis. Now, nature of stress. So the word stress has come from a Latin word known as strictus, meaning tight and narrow, and stringer, that is the verb like टाइटनिंग. मतलब ऑब्वियसली कोई एक टाइटन सी फीलिंग भी हमारे ब्रेन में हमें महसूस होती है जब हम स्ट्रेस में होते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि हमें समझ में नहीं आता है अब हम करें क्या. That is when we feel like, oh my god, how to deal with it. And stressors are the actual relatives, are actual what do we call it, crowding, bad relationship and noise. Like for example, right now I'm giving you a lecture. What if there is some dhol nagada at my back and you're getting too distracted with that dhol nagada and now you're like, I cannot make out what ma'am is saying. So that is when you will feel a little bit of stress that how am I going to do this chapter, how am I going to read about this particular topic, how am I supposed to reach out to ma'am to say that ma'am please change the voice material or please keep the noise at the background like a little low. So those stressors actually gives you stress. So stressors are the events that causes stress. Okay, then there is strain. Okay, strain is a reaction to the external stressors. Here you are actually reacting. For example, if I am in a situation where I cannot deal with my relatives or I cannot deal with a lot of crowded places or a lot of noise or some bad relationship or some breakup, then my reaction to that external feature will be known as strain. हैंस सेले, इनका नाम आपको नहीं भूलना है अगर आपको ये चैप्टर में एस करना है तो, बिकॉज ही वॉज द वन हु डिड अ गुड अमाउंट ऑफ रिसर्च ऑन द टॉपिक स्ट्रेस. ही इज ऑल्सो नोन एज फादर ऑफ स्ट्रेस. Sounds silly, but yeah, he is. Okay, so now he defined stress as the non-specific response of the body to any demand. Why is it non-specific? Because I don't know how am I going to react when somebody comes to my house when I'm giving some important exam, or I don't know how am I supposed to reach out to ma'am like in like first go and say that ma'am I need to take a doubt clearing session where I'm not very familiar with the teacher or teacher is a very new person to me. So it's a non-specific response because you do not have a specific detail of how to behave in this particular situation. Now let's take an example. I have a meeting, for example I have first meeting or an interview, a job interview where I have to meet and communicate my particulars like my details, that I cannot sign a bond or I cannot reach out to you every time you want me to, I want to go for further studies, or all of these things that I want to mention. Now I have stress of these particular situations, but I am not really making a specificity of how am I going to make out or say all of these details in an interview, whereas in like your morning routine or in your like movie going routine, there is a routine. You will get up early in the morning, you will bath, you will get ready, you will go to a movie, or you will sit, or you will study. So these are specific response to a particular situation, whereas in stress you do not have any specific response to a particular situation. And stress is basically is not a factor that resides in an individual or the environment. Instead, it is embedded in an ongoing process that involves individual transacting with the social and cultural environment. It's a very beautiful line, because it's not something that is within me, that I am always stressful, or it is not something within my environment that my environment is always stressful, whereas it is basically something you will see that anything you want to do, you want to cook up your favorite meal, or you want to go for like some important exam, or you want to go for a meeting, you want to start dating somebody. So anything in your life, for example, you need to focus, and you will see that there is some little amount of stress that you have to complete that particular task. It's not something that you will be able to do without any stress or without even thinking about it. You will think about it, you will brainstorm a little, you will do a lot of things to realize that how am I going to survive this situation. An individual response to a stressful situation is largely dependent on a perceived event and how they are interpreted or appraised. So yeah, why are they saying that? How we perceive. So if I perceive relatives coming home as something very joyous, that I'll be meeting them, I'll be hugging them, they'll get like share each other's sweets, and we'll sit together, watch movie, have fun, then my situation will be a little lighter one, and I will be feeling little better about the situation. I won't be like very panicky. Whereas if somebody is like an introvert and they do not want to interact to any of the relative coming up in the home, so these people will be very stressed, and they will be very largely, they'll be perceiving this particular situation as threat, and they'll be like, I don't have any resources because parents are saying aapko milna padega, and my siblings are saying ab to ghumne chalna padega, and I don't want to do any of these things, I have no resources. And the appraisal goes into like, this situation is a harm and a threat and also a challenge to me. Then Lazarus gave two types of appraisals. So first of all, we have primary appraisals, and secondly we have secondary appraisal. First appraisal, as I told you, you see the situation as harm, threat or challenge. Harm is something, assessment of a damage being done by an event, कि अब तो वो लोग आने वाले हैं. Now I have to look out ki how am I going to take my classes, do my other projects and other work, because I have to spend time with them. Then threat is the assessment of a possible future damage that may be brought by an event. Now my boss will be very angry with me, my students might feel that why is ma'am absent, or all of these things will come into my mind as a threat that can happen in future. Then we have a challenge. So challenge is more confident expectation of the ability to cope with that stressful event, and it's actually the potential to overcome your particular threat that has come up in your life. Now you have seen the situation as harm, threat and challenge. Now you will go for secondary appraisal. Now what is secondary appraisal? It is basically to look about the resources that you have. For example, now again at this relative example, I have a sibling. I am not a single child. So my sibling will tackle the relatives till the time I am busy with my work. But after I am free, like when I am okay to meet them, I'll go meet them. So I have resources and I can appraise the situation in a positive manner, and now I can go ahead and plan my day accordingly. Okay, so it is also the like resources should be mental, physical, personal or social, all sort of resources. Okay. Then there are also subjective factors that play an important role in appraisal of a stressful situation. First of all, we have past experiences. Why am I saying past experiences? Because if my past experience with these same relative was like very haphazard and I was feeling very terrible after talking to them, I will be feeling, no, this is very threatening and terrifying that these people are coming up again. Then we have controllable. So this situation, can I just control the situation? I can call up these relatives and say that, yeah, see, I have some important meeting to attend, please don't come. No, in India that doesn't happen. So we have no control on the situation here. Then we have stressors, which are external as well as internal. So external will be environment and social, whereas internal will be psychological. External, environmental, for example, a lot of noise in the background, which is not there. But if it is there, you won't be able to understand whatever I am saying. Whereas social stress will be a breakup with a friend or loneliness. So breakup with not just your boyfriend or girlfriend, but also with your best friends or friends also affect us like emotionally. Okay, then we have psychological. I have major conflict. Do I go, like, should I go to the meeting or should I go to the relatives? So conflicts and frustration. So these sort of stressors put up in put us in a situation where I cannot make out how to deal with it. Okay, then we have stress reaction. So PEBC is an acronym that you can write in your notebooks. That is physiological, emotional, behavioral, and cognitive. So these are the ways in which I am going to respond to this particular situation. Now, first of all, we have physiological. So we have arousal at the physiological level. I know you might find this particular physiological pathway to be like difficult to learn, but once you understand it properly, you will be able to make it, like, write it in your board exam. First of all, we have first pathway that involves autonomic nervous system, and adrenal gland will be activated, which will release catecholamines, and catecholamines are basically norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine, and then these will be releasing fight and flight response. Then we have second pathway, which will be involving our pituitary gland, and it will be releasing corticosteroid, which is cortisol. That's the stress hormone that we have already done it. Okay, this provides us energy in that situation. Then emotional responses, it includes negative emotions. For example, now I am into fear, like how am I going to attend this new fufaji, and how am I going to do this and that and this and that. So these sort of situations when it are coming into my head, that my father might be scolding me, or should I go there, should I go this way, or what should I do, sort of a situation. Anxiety may appear, like it's a vague feeling of apprehension, like there is no reason but I'm anxious. How am I going to behave? How am I going to survive? Then depression, etc. Behavioral response. So behavioral response will be depending on the stressful event. So it can be confrontative, that is fighting. Like I will go and tell the elders of my family that I am busy. Please do not let other people to enter my room until and unless I ask you to do so. Otherwise, like if you have very strict parents, or you have like very authoritarian system in your family, you might be like very scared of saying no to your parents or elders of your family. You will withdraw from the situation. You will fly. You will basically fly, like not just fly, you will fly from the situation by saying, my friend is really sick, she needs me, and you will take your laptop and you'll go there and you'll study all the day. Then you have cognitive responses. So cognitive responses include beliefs. For example, if it is like a harm, threat, or challenge, whatever is my situation, how am I going to control it? So these are certain cognitive responses. Then we come to stress, which people experience also may vary in these 4 types. Okay, obviously this is my favorite chapter to teach, so I'm enjoying doing it. I hope you are also enjoy learning. So first of all, we have intensity, then we have duration, then we have complexity, and then we have predictability. So if the situation is very, very intense, for example, somebody died and you need to go, so now this is going to put you into more stress than somebody like some daily hassles like neighbors fighting at the back. Okay, then duration. If the duration is so long that after somebody's death, prolonged grief disorder is happening, like person is so much in grief, then the duration may lead to more stress. Then we have complexity. If the situation is like you're not able to make out the situation properly, it's so complex that you cannot think about how am I going to put this whole puzzle into like in a right position. So that will put you into more stress, right? Then we have predictability. If I can predict, see, we cannot predict anybody's death, so that will cause you more stress. But if we can predict that if I don't attend the lecture right now, my teacher will be scolding me tomorrow, then I will be mentally prepared to listen to the scoldings. Whereas in the death example, I am saying you, nobody can control it. Then we have individual experiencing the stress depends on their physiological strength. So we have multiple times said that please अपने immune system को strong रखो, immune system strong रहेगा तो बच्चा और अच्छे से पढ़ पाएगा and वो और stress से अच्छे से deal कर पाएगा. क्योंकि when we are in stress or when our body is ill or sick, the fat tissues, like the fat of our body actually fights, and also our immune system helps our body to actually recover without medicines. So how beautiful our body is designed, that it can fight their own bacteria and viruses that you take through pizzas and burger in your body. They can actually be cleared out by your own body if you have good immunity. But if you do not have good immunity, you cannot even fight stress. Then we have psychological factors, for example your mental health, your temperament, your self concept, and certain things that are relevant to your experiences right now, something of that sort. Then we have cultural context in which we live, determines the meaning of an event, that defines the response and expected under the various situation. Okay, so in a cultural context we live, we need to determine, is this situation very useful for me, or is this situation I will be able to deal with it, or I will not be able to deal with it. In such a culture in which we are grown, we are very inbuilt stress healers and stress copers, because we face stress on a daily basis. Okay, then we have some signs and symptoms of stress. So what are certain signs and symptoms? So people who are very much under stress all the time, these people start having stomach upset, like stomach ache unnecessarily, headaches, backaches. Emotionally they have extreme mood swings, they worry a lot, they're anxious, they're fearful. Then we have cognitive, who have like lack of concentration, memory loss, low self-esteem, and poor decision making. So see, if you have if I have experienced certain very close friends' death or some relatives' death, I may not be able to concentrate properly on whatever I am doing in my life. I may have a memory loss. So if my memory is gone for that particular event, then that can be called as repression. Then I can have low self-esteem because I'm not studying well, I'm not keeping up well with my health, I'm not keeping up well with my relationships. So I will be like having no much greater self-esteem of myself. Then we have poor decision making. Obviously, if I'm not able to think properly, how am I supposed to make decisions? Okay. Then we have types of stress. So types of stress are majorly divided into these three types: psychological, physical and environmental, and social stress. So first of all, we have physical and environmental stress. Physical stress, as the name suggests, आपका डाइट अच्छा नहीं है, आपका स्लीप अच्छा नहीं है, एनवायरनमेंट में बहुत पोल्यूशन है, क्राउडिंग है, नॉइज है, समर हीट है, विंटर का वो अनबेरेबल कोल्ड है लाइक दिल्ली कोल्ड, एंड देन अनअवॉइडेबल एनवायरमेंटल स्ट्रेस लाइक फ्लड आ जाना, अर्थक्वेक आ जाना. सो दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ फिजिकल स्ट्रेस. देन साइकोलॉजिकल स्ट्रेस पे क्वेश्चन आता है 4 मार्क्स में, ओनली साइकोलॉजिकल स्ट्रेस पे भी आता है. सो मेक अ नोट ऑफ इट. दीज नोट्स आर लाइक ऑफ 100 बेस्ट क्वालिटी. You can refer to them, but also refer to your text. Then we have psychological stress. So psychological stress is personal and unique. It will be mine. If flood happens in my area, everybody in my area is going to suffer. Whereas if something happens to me personally, that will be affecting me personally and not overall to everybody in the life. Like frustration, should I go for best IIT or should I go for the course and not the IIT? Matlab not going to the college but to the course that I wanted to opt for. Now you have much frustration. Where should I go? This way, that way. This is basically the example that I have given you. I'm really sorry. That's of conflict. That I have a conflict between what should I go for IIT or should I go for some my course. Certain conflicts that lead to mental pressure. Then we have frustration. So something that is hindering me to attain my goal. Like I want to reach to my highest potential and some barriers are coming into, like shadi kar lo, and all of these examples that generally in India people give, that I was studying very nicely and then suddenly my marriage happened and I was doing so good and then I got pregnant. So certain examples of this sort makes the person feeling so frustrated that I cannot really leave the stress that has come up with my life, but I can also not deal with the situation that I'm into right now. Then we have internal pressure. Certain internal pressures are created by ourselves. I hope you agree that you have your own internal standards, that I should be the topper of the class, I should reach to the highest potential, I should come first in my class, I should be this, I should be that. So those shoulds in your life basically put you into a situation where you see yourself, like inside yourself you are putting so much pressure that is causing psychological stress. Then we have social pressure, society ki demands which are never ending. Please, if you want brain sanity, your mind sanity, your body should be like good immune, then please ignore social pressure, because social pressure is never ending. Internal pressure is still to reach the highest potential, to do something better, to go first, to do something that is good for your own self. But social pressure is only for, not for yourself, but also for society. So just keep in mind, stay like, make clear cut boundaries where people can enter and cannot enter. Then we have social stress. So social stress is basically included with your external interaction with others. It is not something that is coming from the like in the social pressure, it is coming from the society. It is something coming through interaction. Like if you interact to some very sadist aunties, they'll be very what do we call it, they'll be very nosy in your life, and they'll be very what do we call that thing, very, make your life very challenging, and also very judgmental it's the word. They'll be very judgmental, and they'll be very open about their judgments. So they'll be judging you, their eyes will speak a lot. So certain people, just by their face, are stress. Okay, and I'm not kidding, it's true. So for example, an outgoing person may still survive that auntie, but what about the introvert? They cannot even speak out. So they are not even able to speak what they want to, and they are into a situation where they're facing ki kaise isse nikla jaye, and they're saying yes, yes, yes. And these aunties are putting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a lot of pressure on these kids. And now these kids are like, oh my God, too much in my brain, where to take it out? Because introverts also feel what do we call it, tension in their brain when they interact with people who are very not so good for your health. Okay, so those sort of social situations. Then sources of stress. Now sources, stress come from various places. Okay, various situations, various events causes stress. So these sources are different from what you have read अभी earlier. So sources में सबसे पहले life events होंगे, जैसे कि breakup in your relationship, and if you have planned like shifting to your new house or moving to a new house. So these are certain life events which are planned, not the breakup, unpredictable breakup. The planned one is moving to a new house, where you have actually planned that I will be moving to my new house, I will be living there very like nicely, and I will have no problem in my new house. But just the process of shifting, like I remember when I was shifting after doing my post grad and after doing my grad from Delhi and from BHU, I was like into a situation where I was just thinking about packing for a week. And then when I did that packing, it was so taxing to take all the stuff and come to your own house, which was not actually shifting to a new house, but also coming to your own house. So it's like these sort of life events also cause much stress in our brain. Okay, then we have hassles. So these are daily quarrelsome hassles: parents fighting, padosi fighting, noisy environment, quarrelsome neighbors, traffics that you have to encounter on a daily basis. So it's not a major life event, but it is a hassle that happens like on a daily basis. Then we have traumatic events. These are the serious events, and it's not that ones are not like serious one. These are like fire, flood, drought, earthquake, flashbacks, PTSD, tsunami, robbery, accidents. Professionally, we need help to cope from these. Otherwise, people may suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Then we have effects of stress. So effects of stress on our psychological and health. Four effects are there. First of all, emotional. Now you will, obviously, it's very easy to understand. See, if I am under too much pressure and stress, I will not be able to communicate very properly. I will not be able to even sit here, and I will not be able to open my books or my laptop or do anything in my life. I'll be like increased physical tension. I will have depression. I will have too much of mood swings. One, like I am having chocolate, I'll be feeling good because of the dopamine rush, but after that chocolate sense is gone, I am like, what to do. Anybody coming to me saying fruits khalo or something, you eat fruits, what is this, I don't want to eat, you don't understand my situation. Are you even telling them? You're not telling them. You're like fighting for certain stuff that is not making any sense to other people, but you have mood swings. Then you have physiological effects. So I have told you that your ANS system is giving catecholamines. Your pituitary is involved in giving corticosteroids. Catecholamines, I've already told you, norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, and these corticosteroids are cortisols. So these hormones basically release and give you the energy to fight or flight, or give you the energy to actually have some energy to fight your whatever situation you are into right now. But prolonged secretion of these particular hormones can cause problems in your digestive system, because you have fight and flight. So when your body is fighting, your digestive system is not working, and it keeps on fighting for days. Then how are you like going to digest your food? You're not even intaking any food at that time. Then you have air passages of lungs get expanded, and your heart rate is increased, your constrictions of blood vessels. So it is putting you under so great physiological illness that you can't even recover from like as soon as you get into stress. Okay, then we have cognitive effects. So cognitive effects are basically you are not able to make sound decisions, you are like making faulty decisions, because you are like abhi mood acha hai, to you are like okay. See, always remember, never take any decision when you are in very good mood or when you are in very sad mood. Why? Because these are the two situations in which you are not particularly very much in your logical sense. You're thinking emotionally when you are in very high or very lows of your mood. So never take any decision in these. You have very faulty decision making because of your mood swings. You have very poor concentration. You have very reduced like short term memory capacity, because you're not able to remember. Your brain is overthinking about stuff that is there in your head. So how am I going to remember anything that is related to my test tomorrow? Then we have behavioral effects. So behavioral effects, when the person is in stress, they are most likely to take non-nutritious food like chocolates, pizzas, burgers, these new cold drinks that have come up in the market, Stings and Red Bulls, and consumption of caffeine will be high, cigarettes will be high, disturbed sleep pattern, increased absenteeism, reduced work performance, a lot of things that are not good for their health, they are going to intake. Then stress and health. We have been talking about it since the beginning that it has very bad effects on our like particularly health. It causes us anxiety, feeling of helplessness, and the total state of physical, emotional and psychological exhaustion is known as burnout. You will be asked 1 mark question on this. It always appears in 1 mark or in 4 mark or in the long answers. But you must remember, physical, you have already read, physically you are under stress, your body is not reacting good, your body has lowered down your digestive system and all. Emotionally, you're not able to, you're very depressed, you have mood swings. Then psychological, you're not able to make out good decisions, you're making faulty decisions, and you're not able to study and concentrate. So all of these sort of exhaustion included together known as burnout, when the person's body is actually given up. Now, it may cause you cardiovascular diseases, heart attacks. So currently heart attacks, cancers, thyroids and asthmas, headaches, ulcers, these are certain bodily problems like physical illnesses that have been caused because of stress. There are clear-cut researches and studies. I'm not kidding, I'm not joking. This is based on stress. High blood pressure, these cardiovascular diseases, ulcer, asthma, headaches, these are the thing, migraines and all. Then we have stress that plays very important role in physical illness. See the number of percentage, 50 to 70%. 60% of the medical visit are primarily for stress related symptoms. Okay. Then we come to the person I told you, never forget, Hans Selye. Hans Selye gave the general adaptation syndrome. So general adaptation syndrome, he did a whole study. That study was very fantastic. I really discourage people who do such a studies. So that was a pun. I really don't understand why people give so much pain to animals when they want to study something. He actually subjected the insects and other animals to x-rays, high temperatures and insulins. So all of these stressors which were external were given to those kids, not kids, the animal, insects and all, to see their stress response. And that is when he noticed that the stress response of an animal and the stress response of an of human is same. So he gave the model, GAS model, general adaptation syndrome. Never forget, general adaptation syndrome. So there was alarm stage, resistance stage and exhaustion stage. In the alarm stage, our body is into alarm, our pituitary cortex is working, our activating, our fight and flight and responses are coming, our autonomic nervous system is working, everything is working to just bring the balance. Resistance, in this our parasympathetic nervous system is actually building up the resources to cope with whatever fight and flight has done to our body. And now finally, after all our bodily resources are ending, we go into the state of exhaustion. Here the person has like diseases like high blood pressure, so person is actually under so much strain that this person has lose all his capabilities to actually function properly. And these Saleh's model was criticized for assuming a very limited role for psychological factors for stress, and the people responded to stress insubstantially influenced by the perception of personalities and biological constitution. Obviously, you cannot really just have stress because of your bodily changes, but also how you perceive it to be, how you actually have your biology build up, how you have genetically inherited the ability to cope, and how you have that psychological tension in your brain. So he did not taken into account any of the psychological factors, he only took into account the physiological factors. This is the diagram that you must make in your exam when you see the question on general adaptation syndrome. So here you have seen that this is the alarm stage. Okay, the highlighted bit is the alarm stage, when your body is actually trying to fight and flight. Then you go to this resistance stage, and after this resistance stage your body falls and you come to the exhaustion stage. Okay, then we come to stress and immune system. I have already told you that immune system will be affected by any sort of stress from your environment. So psychoneuroimmunology, this comes in 1 mark. Please make a note, this term actually comes in 1 mark, and it is asked multiple times that what is psychoneuroimmunology, or the whole definition is given and you are asked to give that one word. So it is basically the link between the mind, the brain and the immune system, and it studies the effect of stress on the immune system. Okay, so it will just not take into account your brain or your body, it will take into account everything together, and then it will link how your brain is reacting to a stress, how your psychology is coming to your stress, how your immune system is working when you are under stress, and how you're going to help with this. Now stress has like impairing tendencies for our immune system. I've already told you, because it gives immune system actually guards us from the external attackers, okay, viruses and bacteria. But if your immune system is weak, you have already seen COVID-19, if you had like very bad immune system, you will have to go through COVID. Okay, but if you have good immune system, you have done your vaccines. Obviously, if you have done your vaccines, they have pros and cons, and if you've not done, good. So there are again like attackers in your body which are basically attacking your immune system, and if you're under stress, then immune system grows weaker and weaker and weaker. We have white blood cells, those are called leukocytes within our immune system that identifies and destroys foreign invaders that are known as antigens. So the red words and the blue words, white blood cell, leukocyte, bodily like foreign invaders or foreign bodies, antigens. Always remember, जो हमारे व्हाइट ब्लड सेल्स हैं वो ल्यूकोसाइट्स हैं, और वो हमारे इम्यून सिस्टम को सेफगार्ड करने के लिए डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं जो फॉरेन इन्वेडर्स होते हैं, एंटीजेंस होते हैं, वायरसेस होते हैं जो हमको आकर परेशान करते हैं. ओके, सो देयर आर सेवरल काइंड्स ऑफ व्हाइट ब्लड सेल्स. फर्स्ट वी हैव टी सेल्स, टी हेल्पर सेल्स, बी सेल्स एंड नेचुरल किलर्स. सो टी हेल्पर्स, टी सेल्स, बी सेल्स, नेचुरल किलर, सबका अपना अपना काम होता है. जैसे हमारे पास पूरी आर्मी की यूनिट है जिसमें हमने एक को यहाँ पे, एक को वहाँ पे, एक को वहाँ पे, एक को यहाँ पे, ऐसे अलग अलग काम के लिए तैनात किया है. वैसे ही टी सेल्स इन्वेडर्स को डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं. टी हेल्पर सेल्स जो है, दे आर बेसिकली for our immunological activity and they attack human immunodeficiency virus, not AIDS, HIV, the virus, human immunodeficiency virus को ये अटैक करते हैं. और ये वायरस क्या कॉज करता है? एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनोडेफिशिएंसी सिंड्रोम. सिंड्रोम क्यों? क्योंकि हमें कॉज नहीं पता है. जिस भी प्रॉब्लम का जब हमें कॉज नहीं पता होता है तो हम उसके आगे लगा देते हैं सिंड्रोम. जैसे कि polycystic ovary disorder and polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS and PCOD. D में आपको पता है किस वजह से हुआ है, whereas syndrome में आपको नहीं पता है कि क्या कारण है कि आपको ये polycystic ovary syndrome हो रहा है. वैसे ही ये HIV वायरस को अटैक करता है और ये एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनोडेफिशिएंसी सिंड्रोम को, एड्स को कॉज होने से रोकता है. बी सेल्स एंटीबॉडीज प्रोड्यूस करते हैं जो कि जाके ऐसे लड़ाई झगड़े करेंगे और हमें अपने इन्वेडर्स से बचाएंगे. देन वी हैव नेचुरल किलर्स. दीज एक्चुअली फाइट अगेंस्ट द वायरसेस एंड ट्यूमर्स. ट्यूमर्स किस में होते हैं? कैंसर में होते हैं. बिनाइन ट्यूमर्स अच्छे होते हैं कि मैलिग्नेंट? Malignant are very, very dangerous because they cause cancer. Benign tumors are into the same position, so they don't cause cancer. Stress can also affect the natural killer cells by actually killing them. Okay, they are not able to fight the infections and cancers, and reduced levels of natural killer cells will put you into a situation where you will be highly stressed and you will be having the illness because the natural killer cells are not able to do their natural activity. Okay, if you are severely under stress, you will like because of your examination or some, like what do we call it, CUET examination or some B.Ed examination, REIT examination, NEET examination, NET examination, mains examination, a lot of examinations we have. So if you have certain stress, if you have that what do we call it, examination coming up in your recent days, so in this situation you will have reduced level of natural killers because they are actually getting killed by your too much stress in your brain. Okay, so please stress less. Studies have several like revealed that immune functioning is better in the individual who have social support. So we have already know that if you have your supportive parents, supportive partners, supportive friends, supportive teachers, supportive school environment, then you will experience less amount of stress even if you are experiencing any of the important exam. But on the other side of the coin, if you have not so supportive parents, not so supportive partners and friends, not so supportive school teachers and school environment, then you will have much stress because you don't know how to deal with that stress, how to deal with that exam, how to go about in this situation, how to actually make out कि कैसे जाएंगे हम अब आगे, इस सिचुएशन से कैसे पार लगेगी हमारी नैया. देन वी हैव साइकोलॉजिकल स्ट्रेस. अब ये अकम्पनीड होता है नेगेटिव इमोशन के साथ में, जो हमने अभी बात करी है, डिप्रेशन, हॉस्टिलिटी, एंगर एंड एग्रेशन. देन नेगेटिव इमोशंस आर also basically a particular concern for the study of effect of stress on health. Then people under prolonged stress are more prone to irrational fears and mood swings and phobias and may experience depression and anxiety and irritability than people who are not under so much of stress. So everything has their own meaning. Irrational fear, कॉटन से डर लगना, मकड़ी से डर लगना, लेजर्ड से डर लगना, डॉग से डर लगना, फोबिया होना किसी भी चीज को लेके. तो अगर बहुत स्ट्रेस है तो हर चीज से डर लगेगा. मूड स्विंग्स होंगे, मैंने पहले एग्जांपल दे दिया. देन वी हैव डिप्रेशन, फिट्स भी हो सकते हैं. देन एंगर, इरिटेबिलिटी एंड नेगेटिव मूड हैव आल्सो बीन एसोसिएटेड विद poorer health outcomes, and feeling of hopelessness are also related to worsening of that disease and increased risk of what do we call it, injury and death due to various causes. See, if you have negative mood all the time, you're not going to think about anything in a like a positive light. You're not going to have very hopeful, you're not very optimistic, rather you'll be very hopeless. You will not be even thinking about anything going around you. You'll not think about your family. You may be suicidal, and it can put your disease or anything that you have right now to more worse situation. It may be like something that has come up in your life and now you're feeling like very bad about it, and now you're feeling much bad because of that negativity that you have in your head right now, and your increased chances of injury and death can happen. Because if a person is very happy, see, there was a research, I will be ending on this research now, that there was a cancer patient. The guy who was diagnosed with a cancer, when told, like, was like obviously lied that their stage of cancer has been like not increasing, rather decreasing, and now they can actually live happily because they are recovering from this cancer stage. They really started recovering because of their positivity in their head and not negative mood. Whereas if you have so much negativity, if you have a little bit of illness, for example just a fever of 100, you can have that fever reaching to 104 if you are not keeping well with your mental health. So with that, I am completing today's lecture. We'll continue tomorrow. I hope you like the lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.